Mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business.
For the people who are learning to mind their business.
Welcome to Mind Your Business. This
season 3.
Yeah, season 3, the new season. We always talk about sports, and we talk about music, and we talk about how they work together, and you know, just the money side of things. And it is presented by SR Homes, a builder focused on you. Dallas Austin is in with us today, and in this new forum, if you will, this new studio.
The 680, the Fan Cave.
The Fan Cave.
Yeah.
I like the Fan Cave.
Yeah, thanks, man. You're our first guest in it on our show, so thanks for doing it.
Yeah, man.
No problem, man.
So for those of you not familiar, Dallas is a infamous Grammy-winning producer, singer-songwriter, or not singer, but songwriter. You know, huge acclaim in the 90s, and is getting inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, but he has been in Europe for, you know, probably on and off for the last decade, and is coming back to Atlanta and relaunching Rowdy Records, which is super exciting because of all the momentum they had in the 90s, and it's great to see it back. One thing I want to know, I've talked in my reporting about kind of everyone, you know, Atlanta's hip-hop scene today is on fire. Yeah. And so I've always said all these guys are standing on the shoulders of you, Babyface, and L.A. Reid. Now that I got you here, I can hear straight from the horse's mouth. Is that accurate? Do you think that's accurate?
It's a lot of it. You got to include Jermaine.
Oh, yeah, of course, Jermaine. Yeah.
Because me and Jermaine, we started it together, like, at the same time. We met when probably 7, 18. And then between us doing ABC and Crisscross and TLC, and we started doing this stuff before L.A. came to town.
Okay.
So when he came to town, it was really what we had started to kind of cultivate, that he came and got a hold of. He's like, damn, you know, another bad creation. Is this your stuff? And I'm like, yeah.
So did he just come in and kind of connect the business dots?
He because we were running around being creative, like dressing the kids at Lenox Mall, and
with the clothes backwards.
Dude,
I remember how huge that was.
Yeah, and then we would like go make the records and stuff. And so by the time we put them out, like LA and Face, they were coming to Atlanta, so we had already put the records out. And I had did Boys to Men, I had did Another Bad Creation, and then I started to do work for him, like Damien Dame and some of the other first LaFace artists that he had before TLC took off. And actually, when I started Rowdy, I started it with LaFace.
Okay.
And that's how I was supposed to be the street division of LaFace, and then he ended up signing Outkast to LaFace, and I was like, well, you're not the street division. Obviously, you just signed a street record. So I was like, then my office was in New York, and I had 20-something staff members, and I'm like 20 years old, and I'm just like,
that's crazy.
So Atlanta, I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. I just wanted to be in Atlanta. So
God bless you. Me too.
I ended up just like, I got out of there, and I was like, you know what, you guys keep this. I'm going back to Atlanta. And Clive was like, well, take Rowdy with you. You know, it's your label now. You can.
Clive Davis, for those of you who don't know, he's a legend in music.
And so I took Rowdy, came here, and then I signed Monica and started doing, you know, more attainable stuff I can get out of Atlanta.
She still got it, man. I saw her perform at the Hawks halftime show.
She's great.
Unbelievable. She's super cool.
She was so young when we were doing the songs that like she had to catch up to the songs. Mm-hmm. So by the time she got old enough, then she really could sing songs like "Wow, I Love You So Much," and you know they all made sense as classics though.
But a smoke show too, man. She is so stunning.
Oh yeah,
she's so beautiful.
She is, man. I love her.
Yeah, she's cool. One thing I wanted to know is you know, you did a lot of work with TLC back in the day, and I actually saw them. They played the official Grammy after party this year, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And so I want to know, do you keep up with them at all? Is there?
I mean, the girls are really touring, and they're really like just living on legacy at this point. They have so many songs when they play.
Yeah, it's hit after hit after hit.
Hit after hit after hit. You almost didn't have any room for any new ones to make any sense. So like they've been really, they had a hard time, you know, with wanting to move on without Lisa.
Yeah.
I get that though.
And so when they didn't want to put anybody else in the group.
It's like Led Zeppelin with John Bonham.
Yeah, you know.
She was irreplaceable though. I mean, and I understand that.
And so they finally got like they're doing shows in Tokyo, and they're doing, you know, Vegas, and they're doing what they should be doing as legacy. But it's crazy because you go to the shows now, and it's packed, sold out, people in cross colors and TLC outfits. And they're just singing song for song. You can hardly hear the girls because they're singing the song so much.
Oh yeah. The industry's changed a lot from back in the day when I don't know if it's called you first breaking, but when you first walked into extreme success, all the revenue was generated on the recording side, you know, on the CD album sales side. Whereas today the shift's changed to the live music side. How do producers still eat today in a world? Non-established producers still eat today when they're trying to come out of the gate?
It's a hard one because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
It's like in Atlanta, it's like, man, I mean, 40,000 records get released a day at this point, which is a lot of music. And I think the difference is, it's like a lot of kids don't have producers to pull from. Like I was like, all right, Quincy Jones, and I had Prince, and I had Jimmy and Terry, and this person and that person, and like Mutt Lange, and they
Mutt Lange, holy smokes.
Yeah, and so like if you look at kids today, if they came up listening to any producers in the last 5 years, then everything's gonna sound like that, and everything just kind of gets stuck. And so it's not really innovative, and you have to find other ways to innovate it now that it's just becoming its own monster. It's like dance music, It's becoming its own monster, and then you find ways to add to it, innovate it, like the Old Town Road record was talking about. And you find it's the kind of thing that they're always going to find its way to join with something else and make something else special.
So let's touch on that a little bit then, since you brought in Old Town Road, because working in country radio for the last 19 years, country has opened up the floodgates, man. There's diversity. There is there's different styles of country music. There's super traditional, like a Chris Stapleton, and then there's super contemporary, like a Florida Georgia Line or a Luke Bryan.
Dallas Davidson is one of my best friends.
Oh no, I didn't. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, they call us D Squared. We were real wrecked together, bro.
Love
this guy.
Yeah, that dude's amazing.
Yeah, but Dallas used to get all the. I would be in Nashville with him, and when you get a #1 in Nashville, everybody put the banners up, right? They'll go take his down, because they were like, country's about, like it's the best description of what you just did. Like they say the best record is what just happened to you, right?
Yeah,
it's a recording of an event that just happened to you, and country's always maintained that. And when Dallas came in and started writing songs like, Little T-Pain, Make It Rain, and the songs, and all the guys,
the Luke Bryan song.
Yeah, they're like, hold on, what is this guy talking about? How's he infiltrating our system with this? And I was at the Country Music Awards with him. And I could just hear guys in the bathroom talking about him. Like, I can't believe this shit is getting over here. This is real country. This isn't it. I said the guy be talking about Dallas.
That's so funny.
But he's, it's. I remember when I used to work in Nashville at Reva Studio, and and even write with country writers, it would be like still it's a different story. It's like it's such a lockdown on how they had it. Because you could be 50 years old and come out with a country record. It was a great song. It was a great song, and it had no styles and descriptions and cool and all that stuff to it. Then it started to seep in, even after Dixie Chicks, and it started to get even more Rascal Flatts, and then it just like by the time Luke came, Jason Aldean, when Luke came with his records, it was just like it was the first inflection that you've seen too, where my little niece, who's like 12, says, I'm going to the Luke Bryan concert.
Yeah.
You want where?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know a lot more about country than I was expecting.
For sure.
I mean, granted, I know you play with all genres, but still.
I'll pose this question to you because I say this all the time. I think hip-hop and country are the closest genres of music because they tell stories. Yeah. They tell the story of where you grew up, how you grew up.
Reflective of culture.
Very much so.
See, and they would get mad at Dallas when he would do a song with Big Boy, or he would do a song with any other rappers. He would do Manny Fresh, and they'd be like, this isn't, but, and Dallas is from Georgia.
Yeah.
That's why they're the Peach Pickers.
Yeah, with Thomas Rhett's dad, Rhett Akins.
Yep, with Rhett and all those guys. And when he's moved back to Georgia now because he's like, Nashville was almost racist to him in a sense. Because he's so different with the music that he made. Yeah. And he made so many #1s, and he had so many records that really did a culture clash between hip hop. Like, he was doing the Old Town Road way before Old Town Road.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It was so funny because my kid, and I've been working country radio for 19 years, and my kid brought me that song, and he's like, Dad, you heard this? It was like 6 or 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, Dad, this song is awesome. And he was singing it word for word, and then it started, you see the bubbling, and then it was on the Billboard charts, and then they took it off the Billboard charts. I remember telling Phil, I was like, I can't believe they took a song off the charts. Why would you do that? That makes no sense.
And Tug forgets that I absolutely hate charts and have no faith in them. And
totally.
So when I started researching the payola scandal in the 50s, that's when I was like, these guys aren't dumb. Once the federal government came in, they found another way to do it, and the federal government just hadn't figured it out.
They haven't figured it out yet. It's the same trying to wear about. And I think, too, because when you do a song today, when this kid uploaded the song, he uploaded it, and then, you check off the boxes of what you want the song to be listed as. So if I load up a new song right now into iTunes or TuneCore or something,
you can choose your
what
genre.
Time is it? What type of song is it? I can say alternative, I can say country, I can say. So he marked off country, and it automatically just the algorithms clicked it over in the country. And so it took the human consumer to say, hold on, that's not real country. Somebody had to be like, that ain't really country. What are y'all doing?
Or is it? Or is it? See, because I contend that it is. What makes it not?
What makes it not? And so
he's rap. He's I mean, sort of rap, but the content is
but so
totally
is Jason Aldean, and so is
100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
And he's like, you know, and so Billy Ray just came in and said, let me just come on and authenticate this thing for him. And
so that's a good question then. So how did that come about, the whole Billy Ray thing? Because was it, hey, we called him?
No, I'm not sure he heard that, either Molly or somebody, like some kind of way got brought his attention, or maybe he just heard that it was having that issue.
He was getting high, listening to hip hop online. That's what happened.
It's like, this is awesome.
That guy, dude, I had no idea how much he loves pot.
Yeah.
Billy
Ray Cyrus loves some weed.
Everybody in Nashville loves some weed.
Dude,
well, yeah, but you get a lot of them hide it.
Well, most of them hide it.
Yeah.
It's
Billy Ray's like, nah, bring it on.
Yeah. But this is the only place I've ever been to. I would go there to work, and then we would get up to work in the morning, all right? And you work from 10 to 5 or 9 to 5 every day, so you can start drinking beer about 12.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then
beer clock.
5 o'clock, out of there.
Yeah. Gone.
Yeah.
Like a freight train.
Would work with me in LA. We'd be working on pop stuff with me and stuff.
Do it crazy late.
We'll start at night, and we'll be like, what the hell is this, bro? How do y'all do this? We don't do this.
And so with you getting back in the studio now, you got to be, is your schedule switching again?
It does both, because a lot of times I like to work in the daytime and then use the nighttime.
That's the country rubbing off on you.
Yeah, it is, man. I see what Dallas.
No, it's not. It's the parent.
Yeah, okay, or
that's the parent.
That's a nice combination. How about that? We'll give it a little bit.
So many years of being up at night, and I was like, and I'm still gonna work at night. It's just one of those things, just a habit you got. But we used to just in the daytime just go do business and not really do, music work. But now we're kind of switching it up to do everything.
So to the business side, what are you working on at Rowdy? You working with any?
Oh yeah, man.
Any non-established artist?
Yeah, well, I just signed a kid, Johnny Apollo, which is interesting, is downtown, like we're talking about the crossing of hip hop, and on Edgewood you see all this cross culturalization that goes on down there, right?
The EDM and
so
hip hop.
This kid Johnny Apollo, he's like, if you took Rage Against the Machine and
I love Rage.
Amigos.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love Migos too.
Atlanta, so he's like a real great rapper, but he's a rock and roller. He's like, and we're just gonna push the needle more.
He's like a cooler Post Malone.
Yeah, if you took Post and Post was like Texas and country, then you take him and you say, okay, he's like Rage Against the Machine if you mix him in Atlanta. And so really excited about him. And then the Rowdy movement, we're gonna launch 4th of July. Pop-up stores and ice cream trucks, and
nice.
If you go to the game anyway, when you go to the Atlanta United game, it says Rowdy and Proud of there. So like, we all like
gotta play on that.
Gotta play on
for
it,
sure.
Right here in our city, and it's got Dungeon Family Life in there for the Dungeon
the Foodie Mob.
Like the Foodie Mob.
Dude, that's the best club name ever.
Cool, man.
Yeah. How did you get? Did you get turned on to soccer when you were in Europe?
I did. And then my
football?
Son,
did you get turned on to football with the U?
And then, well, my son started me with it, really. And then being in Europe, it's a whole nother. I'm really glad that it's in Atlanta. The excitement that the team has in Atlanta is just insane.
Yeah.
I think it's
undeniable.
It's beyond the basketball and football games. Just the energy of the crowd is like
comparable to college football.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, it's that same
that same kind of energy. Yeah. Sure is. And they, in Europe, they get crazy. I'm waiting on them to turn crazy here at some point. Start turning cars.
No, let's not get too crazy. Let's not get all that kind of crazy. I'm all about it, but you are checking out Mind Your Business, sports, music, and money. Dallas Austin Inn, brought to you by SR Homes, a builder focused on you, offering new home communities throughout Metro Atlanta. You can check them out online at srhomes.com.
So, not really news anymore at this point, but you're getting inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big deal, right?
It's serious, bro. One thing that I was tripping because I'm like, how am I going in with Cat Stevens, not Williams. I hope I'm like
that would have been weird. That's where I was like, wait a minute,
what? Who? I'm with Cat Stevens, and I've been doing Cats in the Cradle since I was like 7.
Yeah, that song almost makes me cry every time I hear it.
Right?
Wild World, man.
Yeah, and then Harold the Mall is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
So he did the whole soundtrack to this strange movie.
Yeah.
But that's when it really resonates to me more than anything, is that I'm going in with somebody like that.
That you admire.
That's just like beyond, like, how is that possible,
Yeah.
Either he should have been in a long time ago.
Somebody missed the boat. Yeah. His letter got lost in the postal service or something.
This long to give this guy
for sure
Hall of Fame, but between him and then Missy going in at the same time, I think it shows that they're paying attention to what's really happened to change music and the culture over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at it, you look at the body of work that all of us have done over the time, it's been, it's been pretty amazing. Like, I swear I don't even know songs I've done. Like, I'm looking around like, did I do this song? Yeah, I did do this song.
Yes, yeah, I did. Of course I did.
So it's an honor to be like, getting the Grammys and then like Grammy Hero Awards and stuff is one thing, because it's like production and and recording, but songwriting, I've been trying to write songs since I was 7. So I sent my first demo to Warner Brothers then.
At 7?
Yeah, I copied off the back of a record.
So this,
stupid cat.
I want to get you to tell the story because this is one of the best stories I've ever read. Tell people about how you came to Atlanta and got into doing songs.
Oh yeah, like with I was living in
With
Columbus,
your mom,
right? And I promised my mom every Christmas that I keep this little Casio calculator, get me a bigger one, give me a bigger keyboard so I can join the bands around here, right?
Sure.
So I worked my way up all the way to this JX 3P rolling, and my brother had to finance it for like, you know, it's $1,200, had to finance it for like 5 years, right? Yeah. So I was playing keyboards one day, and he comes in and says, "Mom said clean up the room," and I wasn't listening to him, and so he took the keyboard and had a couple of Budweisers, of course, and he took the keyboard, threw it, and broke it. And I just flipped out, and I was like, you know what? My mom owned a soul food restaurant, and so after I went downstairs to get a knife to try to kill him because it just destroyed my dream, then I left and I went to the Greyhound bus station. And I was 13. I told my mom, "I'm out of here. I can't do this. This guy's broke my keyboard. I can't be a big record producer. I got to get out of here." And then she's like, "Okay, come on, you can't leave me. You're gonna leave me down." Yeah. Just come on back tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow, I got back up the next day. I went back to the bus station because my aunt was living in Atlanta already, and she said, "You really gonna leave me, huh?" And I was like, "I can't be a big record producer. He broke my keyboard.
Seriously, man, I got to get out of here.
I got to get out of here." So she said, "I'll tell you what, then give me 6 months, sell the restaurant, and I'm coming with you."
Dude, that's a commitment.
And we came here. She started working at Po Folks. Right?
That's a gamble.
Right.
That's a huge gamble.
She was self-employed.
It's not even called Po Folks anymore. Now it's just Folks.
Not just Folks.
So today, will she say that she saw that gift in you, or will she say, "I was just going with my baby"?
She saw the gift because I was so determined. And
the
then,
passion, though, probably.
I was just like this, man.
Yeah, it's true.
I was just so obsessed. And back then, it was just like, I guess it was a little more obvious when you were that obsessed with something than today, because you didn't have that many options to be, you know, you're playing sports outside, or you're sitting here playing a keyboard all day, you know, wishing you were in Van Halen or, you know. And
could you play Jump?
Yeah.
That's so great.
It's a Love, Jump. I started learning all this, everything that was on MTV. Yeah. We just like Duran, you know.
Totally.
And after that, man, it got to the point where when I got to Atlanta, I was known as this youngest kid that could play these keyboards around here. And so I started playing in bands, started running lights for bands, anything I could do to get next to keyboards. And my mom got my last conversation with the counselor. She said, "Look, I can't take it. He doesn't want to go to school. He thinks he's going to be a big record producer, you know." And the counselor's like, "Look, at this point, you should just back him. If he's really that determined, just back him."
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so she's like, "All right, full on go do it. Get whatever you got to do to make it happen, go make it happen. I'm going to be at the house, I'm working." So she'll come in, I have cables running across the floor, and people singing in the bathrooms, and she's got flour on her face.
That's awesome.
So I promise you I'm going to get you a house and a Mercedes one day. I promise you. Just bear with me.
Yeah. That's so
When did you do it?
I did it. I actually, right after Another Bad Creation and TLC.
Well, how old were you?
I was like 21, 22.
Was that weird your first day when you check your bank account and it's like, holy moly?
Well, for the longest I was in bad contracts. And so all these records are selling. I got like almost 10 million records sold.
Is that what TLC was talking about when they won their Grammy?
They won a Grammy, yeah.
Go Google that if you haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It's the most honest. It's the most honest speech ever at the most important place to give.
Because you know the thing about Georgia is if you say we're family. You know, we don't say, "Oh, I'm close to you, so I can stab you in the back." You know, we don't do that. And so when people came in saying family, we were like, "Oh, family."
All right, I'm in.
Take advantage of it.
You take advantage of it, and you know you have all these problems. But it was like, you know, all of us really just coming through that alone was just like a wake-up call for everybody and say, okay, we can't just from Georgia. We need to
call Joel Katz and go get our contracts reanalyzed.
We got to figure this out. That's exactly what happened too.
Really? That's exactly what happened?
100%.
Yeah. Wow. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about.
I was 16 years old, and I was like I was in Philadelphia, and I was calling the company I was signed to back to say, hey, guess what? I'm doing a whole Boys II Men album instead of one song. They said, we're suing everybody, and hung up.
What?
And so the guy I was with said, hey, man, you need to call Joel Katz and Joel Cherry. And they're the lawyers in Atlanta that can help you out. And Joel Katz been my lawyer ever since.
Yep. Ed Rollin told me the same thing. He got him out of a bad contract.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was saving lives.
Dude, that's cool. So quickly, before we move on, because you were just talking about, you know, early MTV and how influential that was on you. But then you had major success, you know, late 80s, early 90s, and that's when really the ball started going. So, which is the more influential decade? The one that shaped you, or the one that you helped shape?
The '90s one is really more, I think, influential because
the '80s is garbage.
Easy with that. I don't want to hear you ever say that again.
Without Prince in the '80s is a ruin.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah,
but it was
touche.
that '80s. It was crazy because coming up in the '80s, I was that kid. I was the kid dressed in Prince clothes. I was a kid being Dr. Fink in the band. I was a kid in Van Halen. I was Nick Rose and Duran Duran. I was
Bootsy Collins.
Yeah. I was George Clinton. I was everybody because that's what your influences were.
Love it. Love it. Every person you mentioned, I'm a fan of.
And everybody had so much makeup. And, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like you had to look like a girl in the '80s.
Yeah, dude, like Poison or something.
Really cool.
I wish I could cite the interview I read that you did, but you gave Prince an amazing kind of credit. You said one of the things that changed the way I looked at music was I read his credits, and it read like created, performed, produced,
performed, written, arranged, composed, and I was like, one person is doing all that.
Yep.
And I never knew that I never knew it was any other way until I got with Quincy Jones one day, and we were talking about production. I can't read music, like. And I was called to do his musical direction for him going into some Hall of Fame in New York. And I'm like, well, who's playing? It's like, well, it's Herbie Hancock, Greg Phillinganes, Bobby McFerrin. And I'm like, you want me to host these people?
Yeah.
I can't read music.
Yeah, right.
Right. But I get up there with him one day and we're talking about it. I was like, how did you do all this, man? He's like, well, you know, everybody did different parts. You know, I'm producing and somebody else composing, somebody else was doing this and that, you know. And I was like, I never knew it was that way. I thought like one person just did everything because of Prince.
Right.
Because he did.
He was special. He was special, though.
Yeah, man. So I learned to write and produce and all that stuff just from thinking that one person did it all.
So I'm friends. Actually, you're with your friend Sean Stockman from Boys to Men. I'm doing a little bit of stuff, kind of helping them with some marketing. And there's a girl they're working with called Kaylin Amario, and it's interesting. I've been following them on Instagram, and she's working with Mama Jan. So she's they're in the studio right now, and it was interesting, kind of seeing the demographic and the behind the scenes stuff. So I read your interview, and it said that one thing you like to do with artists before you work with them is you like to hang out with them for at least an entire day and get to know them so you can write to that. So get online, try to find the most recent interview Dallas has done. That's really good. But I want to know the other side of it. What are things that artists do in the studio that inhibit your ability to create what you want to create? What are your pet peeves in the studio?
I mean, sometimes they get in their own way. I mean, for an artist, though, I'm more like a psychiatrist, right? Because I have to ask you all the time, well, how does that make you feel?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, right.
Because you're making these songs, you're like, really, it's, a song, like a lot of stuff, like a lot of artists, right? They think they want to write, but nobody, it doesn't connect, and you don't, like Whitney Houston's never written a song in her life, right? But somebody who can look at your perception and who you are and bring out of you things that you don't want to say.
Right. Whether life experience or something that's happened to you.
It's hard.
Because you have to use
deal
that.
with it.
Yeah.
I've had to deal with it times and times again where I'll be like, okay, I don't want to deal with this song about my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, you don't want to be vulnerable all the time. Yeah.
But as an artist, that's the thing it is. But you're vulnerable like that. And so, I have to spend time talking to them and like hanging with them and seeing what's happening with them. And then I'm listening in between the stories, not really listening to what I'm asking. Kind of listening to, well, yeah, so then I get the result out of that. And then I say, oh, you want to go pawn your wedding ring? Let's write that song,
Yeah,
like,
that's a country song waiting to happen right there.
I wrote it for this girl, Nikki Williams.
Are you serious?
And that's how it happened. She says, got the phone, she goes, fuck, man, I want to pawn my wedding ring. Like, let's write this. That's a great song, because it's not worth anything. I'm about to pawn my wedding ring.
That's awesome.
But it's, that process is always great when I really plug into people and then just become the tunnel and I just kind of write, even for like Pink or Just Like a Pill and Don't Let Me Get Me and all these songs. I would have them written before she got there. And then say, hey, let me sing this to you and I hope you like the song. One of them that was really like that was Cool that I did for Gwen Stefani. I really wrote that song because she did Simple Kind of Life, and I'm like, her and Tony's in the same band, and she's singing a song for, oh, you would have been a good dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, seriously, man.
I got to perform this song every day with you as a hit record, and you tell me, I would have been a good dad if we would have made it.
Yeah, seriously. That hurts.
And Gavin run off with your girl, and you were singing songs about how y'all could have made it, so it's horrible. So when I wrote Cool, I actually wrote it, I was like, man, that's pretty trippy. I should make a song like that. And then TLC came and heard the song and was like, we have to record it. It's like, no way, I'm not doing this on you guys. Like, 'cause I'm talking about our relationship,
kind
of blatantly, saying now I'm glad we're cool. But no, I don't want to do this with you guys. And so then it turned into a whole fiasco with LA, and I'm going, you gotta do it, you gotta do this song. And then now I'm sitting in the studio ready to shoot myself, because now I'm sitting with my ex. I wrote this song about trying to do it on her. Right, horrible.
And then you got to work through the deal.
Oh, I know.
Then you got to do the deal.
Then you really need to call in as that guy.
Again, that's when you get Joel.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not dealing with this.
So I was like, at the end, I'm not doing it. And so it took me about a couple of years, and I started working with Gwen.
Gwen Stefani from No Doubt.
So I said, yo, I got this song for you. Let me sing it for you, see if you like it. And if it does, then we can make it the third part of like Simple Kind of Life, like a conclusion. Now you're cool, right? And she heard it, said, this is amazing. It is that. Let's change it. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, right.
Do you still get those holy moly moments on working with these kind of artists?
I do, man. Like, it's because for me, like a lot of artists I work with, I grew up on them. You know, so like even if it's Lionel Richie, I'm like, man, I'm working with Lionel Richie. You know,
well, dude, it's because it's Lionel Richie.
We need to talk about who organizes your Wikipedia page, because he's like a third of the way down the list, and I'm like, how is Lionel Richie like 8th on this list?
I think they put it in alphabetical order, didn't it?
That's the wrong order to put it in. If Lionel's too far down, that's the wrong order to put it in.
Because I went in one day, I had to do a discography for something, but I went to look at my Wikipedia page, and I'm like, well, where's all my songs? And then you got to click in the A's, and then all the A songs come up.
Yeah.
And all the B songs come up.
Which is a good problem to have.
It is.
Yes, that's insane. So then I went to everybody else, and I was like, I'm like the only one with this. That's really good.
That's because you're the only one with the catalog, probably that big, to be honest.
Because we were doing albums back, you know, it wasn't like, they wouldn't send people to you for the single. They were like, go work on this album. So at least doing 9, 10 songs with people.
So that's another thing I wanted to touch on. You know, today we see these producers who are getting on social media and developing their own brands around themselves. Sunny Digital is one of my favorite people in Atlanta that does it really, really well. And so, you know, you have all these artists that are reaching out to the producers trying to get in, whereas, you know, in the 90s, a lot of it was just the labels calling people and cutting checks and being like, hey, go work.
Go work, yeah.
So, you know, and it's interesting to see you in the 90s, because it's like, man, like they literally had to like dig at you and be like, hey, come talk to the public, get from out behind the glass and actually like expose yourself to the public. Has that change been weird for you, kind of having to develop your own personal brand?
You know, it's the difference in, I used to believe that if I wanted to have longevity, I better not put myself on the block.
Because people get tired of it.
Yeah.
They get tired of seeing you.
So I was like, let me just stay back here and keep making people, like, let me be the factory that's generating these things. But the minute I start overdoing myself, you're gonna get tired of me at some point.
It's like you want to be the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain,
and you would also like box me into a certain sound at that point. All right, because if I was like, I've done so many records that people didn't know I did because they don't sound like the other records. Whereas if I was stepped out front, you know, like even the time that Pharrell and them had out as the Neptunes, when you would see them and everything, even Britney would sound like the Neptunes. It wouldn't sound like, oh, here's another Britney record. It sounded like, oh, here's a Pharrell record on Britney, or here's a Pharrell record on, here's a Pharrell record on. And then when you started to put all those in one place, all of a sudden at some point, people started to get like tired of it, and then they get tired of you with it, you know? And so it boxes you into being like, that's what he sounds like. That's what he looks like, and that's what he sounds like, and that's it. So there's no way I could have did Korn and Fishbone and all the other crazy stuff I worked on.
Well, I want to ask you, too, quickly about albums versus singles now, because Blake Shelton, because you brought up Gwen Stefani, and they've been dating for a while now. Blake came out, I want to say yesterday or the day before, and said, look, I'm not interested in doing albums anymore. I'm just going to do singles. Yeah. That seems to be the way things are trending a little bit anyway, because, you know, it's not like you go buy a physical record anymore.
What's the point of putting all your gold in one?
Rascal Flatts had kind of mentioned that too a few months back, but I just start seeing it pop up anywhere and everywhere.
It's a product that's been in hip hop and pop for a minute, and I think it's leaking over the country.
Sure.
But I think it's late to do that in country, because I think, if anything, what we're about to run back towards is making albums.
Right.
And the album just is a time to give you, you know, paint the picture, man, like take the time and, you know, whereas a single a lot of times is not gonna make you interested in what the next one is, or the next one is. Like, to me, it's like, you know, if you have a single from somebody and you can say, okay, I like this song and I don't like the rest of these songs or whatever you have. So you should have the option for that. But that's also because of the way they're thinking of putting the record together. They're not thinking about making an album out of it. Because if you think of it as, oh, I'm making this album and I'm not gonna feel good if I start here and end here, and that tells the whole story of what this project is about, then you have people connected to that. You know, I think you can even look at The Star Is Born in a way, and how people like, it's like phenomenal how they love the songs the way they did on this album, on their project. Right. because they felt a cohesive connection to how it is, and so it shows you kind of the gap that's there for it.
Yeah.
And people are gonna follow that model, I think, again more. When we made albums like you look at the Rhythm Nation album for Janet Jackson. It's an album. It starts right here. You get the points across. You get to the ballads in the middle of the project at the end, and you know. And it used to be a formula for like these things. You say, okay, you put your up tempos up front, then you put your mid tempos in the middle, and your ballads on the end. You know, and it kind of gives you a journey of how music. You know,
dude, the Pink Floyd albums back in the day were proper albums.
Right, but they didn't end. Like, songs didn't end.
100%. No, it was a story, continuous, almost like a continuous story the whole way through. Yeah, it was awesome. I
like projects like that. The Michael Jackson's Dangerous project. Like any project that felt like somebody put time into making it. You know,
even R. Kelly's Trapped in a Closet, man. Like, I respect that.
He was in the closet.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to know is, so we talked a little bit about the hip-hop industry today, standing on the shoulders of y'all, Jermaine, L.A., Babyface, and yourself. Who do you credit kind of opening that door to y'all in Atlanta, or did y'all have to just drive your own path?
It was really, you know, it's kind of like the small production companies. We had to drive our own path and kind of figure it out, because like New York didn't care about Atlanta and LA didn't care about Atlanta, so nobody was trying to get any Atlanta music from none of us, and so we had to kind of take it up from the ground and just kind of, we took influences from everybody else. Like I was influenced by Bomb Squad, Hank Shockley, so he's done all the Public Enemy records, and so if you listen to another bad creation, TLC, with Ain't Too Proud to Beg, that noise everywhere, samples going on everywhere, and like, so we would take influences from New York, LA, and everywhere else, and say, well, we're from Atlanta, we just gumbo it all together and come up with something new. And then that's what, you know, if you look at Outkast even, because during the time of Outkast, you still had like Souls of Mischief and, you know, all the kind of like the West Coast rap that wasn't really like Far Side and things like that. And so we would kind of just do our versions of it in Atlanta. And then because Brendan O'Brien would be here, but, you know, I would be working in one room mixing Creep, and he'll be mixing, I'll be having some of his records up, trying to mix my records.
Wait, you worked on Creep?
I worked on my Creep, TLC Creep.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Radiohead for a second. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, but probably at the same time, you got Brendan O'Brien producing Pearl Jam's 10.
Yeah.
That record was he produced some Stone Temple Pilots stuff here in town, I believe, too. So it wouldn't be surprising if it was something at least from that genre.
Yeah, we was in Southern Tracks, that studio over there. He would come out and he'll be mixing his songs to my records, and I'd be like, dang, man, you listen to my songs?
Yeah.
You know, but Atlanta's always had like a good amalgamation of us, and we kind of like fed off of each other more so than like. And then when we started to have it as our thing, we kind of really just locked off and kind of became even more country.
Yeah.
Atlanta's really country, man. We really,
it is.
You know, when you get down to it, our, like, you know, if it's Jazzy Faye's birthday, we got to go by his birthday. If it's take your gold teeth out before you walk in Miss Jackson's house.
That's right. That's right.
And, you know,
it's that Southern mentality.
Well, it is, polite, but it's hospitality. It's kindness. It's family. It's respect.
Yeah.
So all those things, and that goes back to how country music and hip hop music are so similar because they have all those elements.
Yep.
So I gotta plug our boys Nappy Roots, who are more country than Lil Nas X, for the record. Yeah. I think that needs to be out there.
I love those guys.
Those dudes are for real country, man.
They've been rocking.
They were rocking overalls in the '90s, man. They're for real.
I love it.
The last thing I have for you is we had Chauncey Black, you know, from Black Street, on last week, and we were talking about kind of the dichotomy that legacy artists have, where they got to, you know, embrace their legacy, but he's also Blackstreet's back at it. They're, you know, he has the rights at it. They're touring again. I think y'all should work together, but that's between y'all. But so, you know, how do you see that as yourself? You know, you are a legacy producer at this point. You have a amazing catalog. You're getting inducted into Songwriters Hall of Fame. How do you brand yourself as still staying relevant?
I just try to keep it moving, like, and always find something else interested in. Like, I have dance projects, I have rock projects, I have hip hop projects. I always stay off of one radar because, you know, and wait until it pops back up. Like, even like me doing Carly Rae Jepsen, you know, when Call Me Maybe was out, I tweeted how much I liked that song, right? And then her manager just called me and said, "You really like the song? Would you work with her?" Yeah, so I ended up doing 3 songs on her.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so it's things like that. I always just stay interested. I always stay really interested in whatever music is happening. And just kind of like, I can only say interested, man, because I think a lot of people get to the point where they you hit a ceiling like anything else. You say, oh, this is bored. This is what music is doing now. This is horrible. But you always find stuff that's not horrible somewhere.
Right. Yeah. You got to just listen.
Just
right?
listen.
And it's funny you bring up social media because that's an avenue in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
To find something that you never heard of. I mean, Lil Nas X, just because we talked about him a lot today. I mean, like I said, my kid's 14. Man, he knew about that song 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Or
he didn't even have another song.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just show you how the phenomenon hit when it hits, you know.
It's like back to Sunny Digital. I always ask him, and I want you to give your advice on this too, of how non-established musicians can get their product in his hands to check it out. And he's like, put your song on Twitter and tag me in it.
Tag me in it.
Is that how you work too?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because before it was such a, you have to walk to Warner Brothers, sit at reception, hope that you can ask for an A&R person and somebody comes to see you, right? And it's like,
those days are over, man.
those days is way over. So like, either SoundCloud, tag me in the SoundCloud, tag me on Instagram, hey, listen to this. And it doesn't take you but a second or two to listen to it. So it's even better that they do it like that than sitting in front of you.
If I give you $100 grand, can you make Tug a superstar?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Seriously.
There you go.
You can make anybody a superstar $100,000.
$100 grand, cool, of course.
How much money do you think it takes to break a record on the marketing side?
About, these days you can take about $25,000 to get a record started. Because let's take a record that come out of Atlanta, like some type of way or something. Then you have video about $5,000 now instead of $50,000.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to go crazy.
Which is a bummer.
Yeah, you don't really need it to start off.
Yeah, but then you don't get the money to blow.
No, and then you take another 10 grand, you take it to radio, right? Because you get the indies here. And then what happens is, so now if they're playing on YouTube, and if they're playing on a radio station in Columbus, in LaGrange, in here, wherever, then these kids think they're stars, right? So then you go do shows and they get show money. And that's why every day you see these kids walking around with money stacked by the years. It's all from the shows, like we talked about earlier. And just using the music to get out there so they can go do shows. And then the label becomes a booking company at that point.
Yeah.
And so it's that's how you get your new income streams, because you're not really looking to say, okay, they're gonna go off and sell 10 million records this week. I mean, if you look at somebody as big as Drake and he still don't get the 10 million records.
Yeah, right. Taylor Swift. Yeah, there's a bunch of artists that don't sell that many records anymore.
I mean, streaming, they still haven't figured out how to equate streaming to a physical album.
Yeah. And it's still ridiculous the way it's being.
It's a fraction, the fraction of a song, it's pathetic.
Yeah, and even, you gotta realize that even now, it's gonna bust at the seams in a minute anyway, because it's another tipping point coming. Like, streaming was just a Band-Aid to fix what was going out of control in the industry between digital and the record business, because the record business didn't get up on it fast enough, and so they just had to clamp on, and say, let's figure out what can happen. But it's not the final answer to it.
What do you think it is?
I mean, you're gonna have to get into immediate stream pay-in at some point. If I buy a T-shirt, and if I sell you a T-shirt right now, you buy it for $20, whatever, my 10 or whatever goes into my account, right? Mm-hmm. Music still got the old cycle of here's 6 months and here's that and here's the streaming and all this stuff, where it's got to get straight to it. It's got to be like, if you buy my single, then here's your money, here's my money. If you put it in my account now, here's your account. So it needs to get closer to that. And then it's just got to find another. You got access now to more people than you ever had access to, but you're selling less and you're getting less for it. And so that's just because, like I said, the companies had to figure out a way that they could situate themselves.
Yeah, so they could stay in it.
Then they'll figure out how to situate the people later. So you got Spotify fighting with writers about what their writer percentages should be when you're not getting nothing from them anyway.
Right. Yeah.
They're just fighting to control their model that they set off with the labels. They have to say, no, we're going to stand for what we did with the labels because we did this. But you got writers sitting there going, hey, but you're paying us 0.01 cent per something. And you're like, so you can't really survive as even a lot of the kids like the Sonnies and them, by the time they get to the numbers, they're streaming numbers. And they're big. They're playing everywhere. You hear it's the song, it's the thing, but they're still not calculating the kind of money that, when we would come out and sell records and it'd be, we're going to sell $1 million the first week. Oh man, we're only going to sell 800,000 the first week.
Yeah. Today that's a dream.
Yeah, no, right.
That's $16.99.
Yeah. That's what's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, and then imagine like the U2 album, Joshua Tree, 28 million records.
Yeah.
That was then.
Yeah.
So by now it has to be one record that's been sold almost 100 million records.
I saw you said you had a buddy who has a studio out at Joshua Tree. What's the studio called? Is it a private studio?
It's called Rancho V, and I'm going out there to work in a little while, but it's the most amazing thing to have a studio out in the middle of nowhere and just hear silence and then work and hear silence and work. It's like,
that's cool.
I hear Joshua Trees also. I've never been.
It changed my life, actually.
Really?
Bono was right. Yeah, if you go to Joshua Tree, you'll change.
Joe Rogan will say DMT will change your life.
That will change your life.
That's awesome. Well, Dallas, that's all we got for you. Where can we? And I know this
socials
is
and
really easy. Yeah, where can we find you on social media?
Dallas Austin's Instagram. It's with an S because somebody took my other one.
Dallas Austin S.
Yeah,
That's
just
where it's
Dallas
from.
Austin's.
Oh, Austin's got it. Yeah. There you go, man. Make sure you go check out his stuff. Brilliant guy. So fun to sit and talk with you, man.
Oh, man, it's great, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Anytime.
It just, it just shows you how much we all have in common, in life, and even the things that we like that seem so far apart. It's really, really not that
It's
far
really
apart.
not that far apart.
Yeah, no, I love it.
And Atlanta United, if you're listening,
This guy,
face of the team, 2020,
right.
baby.
Let's go.
This is Mind Your Business, and it is presented by SR Homes, a builder focused on you, and we're recording here at Dickey Broadcasting Company at the Fan.
The Fan Cave.
The Fan Cave, here in the Fan Cave, and the Fan 680.
If you want your
93.7
products
FM.
displayed,
Yeah,
email
we can help. We can help you with that too.
Yeah.
So, but we appreciate it, and we appreciate you spending time with us. Thanks.
Yeah, man. It's great.
At SR Homes, our end goal is to create a home that's unique to you, one that you and your family will enjoy for years to come. With over 4 decades of home building experience, SR Homes has become a top home builder in Atlanta, offering a variety of communities in the most sought-after locations. Locally owned and operated, SR Homes is a builder focused on you. For more information, visit us at srhomes.com.